All right, guys. So I'm just gonna be very front forward with this. Is that this video is mainly from me. If you get any use out of this, I mean, feel free to use it. But basically, I want to talk about health and wellness. Because I've kind of did a bit of everything as I've grown up. But basically, just the simple tips and things over the years that I've kind of realized and what I've been doing the last couple of years. As you can tell, I haven't been lifting for probably about 5, 6 years now. But I'm not obese. I'm not super overweight or anything. Um, what I did notice though was that basically after college, after my athletic career, if you would say, I joined the workforce and did strenuous labor, long hours, and I was having a hard time managing my food to provide my body the most nutrients and things and work out and ended up developing like blood sugar issues and stuff. So I would cram food down to try and fuel myself as best I could. But it was causing blood sugar issues that was causing me to pass out and having things like that. And it made me reevaluate how I was living at the time because my family has blood sugar issues and stuff. I've seen my great grandparents and stuff lose limbs and things over time from diabetes and stuff like that. So um, I think there's a simpler way to be healthy that doesn't even necessarily require working out. As you see, like there's a lot of things that people tell you, like yes, as you get older, muscle mass and strength and all that stuff matters. Yes, if you have a lot of muscle, you can eat more calories, and I think that's the wrong way to look at it now. Because when I lifted a lot in the past, when I was doing sports and all of that, that was probably the biggest mindset that I had was that the bigger I get, the more calories I can eat, and it's not really a big deal. But after getting into the labor force, working and all that, um, you notice things about that kind of diet. Uh, as you're lifting, as you're working, you're eating these foods, and I'm very self-aware for the most part of my body. I thought I was eating super healthy up to that point, but I started to notice like the sugar issues, blood sugar issues, lack of salt in my diet started becoming an issue as well. Uh, I started having more joint pain, slower, more fatigue, um, brain fog in general, especially after the concussion that I got that ended my sports career. I had a major concussion. So I was already kind of in a daze, but it got worse. And then after I stopped lifting and working a lot and my diet and stuff fell off a bit, I kind of noticed that I was having chest pains. So I don't know exactly what it was, but basically when I first started lifting, I had a really serious chest pain when I was like 14, and that's what got me into lifting in the first place. Um, and now I've kind of figured out kind of a couple of things. Is like if you lift and you get super massive, yes, your cardiovascular health and stuff is important. But also I feel like if you've ever had a muscle cramp, you know, and how bad they suck. I haven't had a muscle cramp in a long time, but if you ever had a muscle cramp like in your leg and it sucks super bad, and then say you put like 40 pounds of extra muscle on your body and have a muscle cramp like you're lifting or something and your muscle cramps up, that stuff sucks and it's intense. And I kind of almost feel like the combination of fat, depending on your diet, the fat that clings to your organs and stuff inside your body, and then like the extra muscle mass maybe that you put on your heart or something. I don't know. But one of those two is like causing chest pains and problems. Now, the only way I could fix that at this point was um basically diet, and not even diet at that point. Like I ain't going and eating salads and stuff all the time. I started fasting and I've slowly progressed my fasting over the years. Like this wasn't a sudden thing, but instead of doing like 4 hours to 6 hours to 12 hours, and now I do like 20 hours, or I'll do 24-hour fast or 12-hour fast. I'm not lifting as much, so my dietary needs aren't really as big. Um, a combination of fasting and for some reason elevating your feet above your body while I'm sleeping has completely gotten rid of my chest pain. The only uh the only downside, or the only thing I could see about raising your feet above your body at night, as basically there's things saying that it lowers your blood pressure and stuff. It kind of allows your heart to rest, because it doesn't have to pump as hard or something along those lines is what I'm getting. But essentially, I've gotten to the point now where I'll sleep and put my feet up kind of in a sleeping setting position on the couch, and it's really helped my chest pain. Like my chest pain's gone at this point. That in a combination of now, like I'll fast, I'll wake up, I'll just not eat anything for the first few hours of the day, kind of go into work or whatever. I'll eat some like some dark chocolate, some berries, stuff like that, fruit, and then like a little bit later, I'll eat some protein, and then I'll probably have like a bigger protein meal, like a little bit. It's not that terrible. But when I first started lifting, my workout philosophy was basically that of like Vikings. It was like they had to go cut trees every day, so I'm gonna go out and lift and work every day. But I think people really overload themselves when they start working out. They're trying to go and do these strict, regimented gym guidelines, these dietary guidelines. They're completely cutting their food supply down. They're going to the gym for a certain period of time. All of that, it's fine if you need that structure, but I don't think it's needed necessarily to get into the groove. So when I first started running, for instance, I didn't go and say, "Hey, I'm going to go run 2 miles." What I did was I knew I didn't like the dark, and I would walk down the road, and then it would start getting dark outside, and I would want to get back home, so it made me kind of sprint to get back home, and that was kind of how I started. But I don't think you need to go into these giant regulatory just workout schemes and programs and stuff to get in shape. And yes, putting on muscle does allow you to burn more calories and not have to worry so much about your food. And it is good to put on muscle, don't get me wrong. But I feel like your mobility and your overall general health should be more important first. Like, especially now that I'm older, like I could still go and lift immediately, but I think getting movement in your day and stuff before you start getting into these regimented things is just better. Like lubricate your joints, make sure everything's good. So, for instance, I'm starting to get prepared to start lifting again in the next year or two. That's basically my goal. Is I'm working towards getting a gym, um, and lifting again. Okay, so instead of me just going in there and starting lifting, which I could easily do, it's fine, and you can do that. Um, I have focused on my diet. I have focused on fasting, getting my body used to kind of regulating itself. You'll realize once you get better at, your body tells you what it needs after a while. You have to kind of train it to understand what it's needing. It's hard to explain, but like I can tell if there's something in my body that hurts, and I kind of have a vague idea of how I can fix it. Um, and now I'm getting to the point where I'm not to the stage where I'm lifting yet, but I'm seeing how much mobility and ease I can have because a couple of years ago, when I was still eating like crap, and I hadn't fully started fasting like I am now, I was kind of slowly moving into the fast. Uh, I was having joint pain, stuff like that. I had an ACL surgery. I have two messed up shoulders. It's never really bothered me too much, but there was pain there. There was stiffness. The fasting and stuff has definitely loosened up my joints and things. I've started walking basically a lot more. So you do forward and backwards walks. I started to do side to side movement, things that you would do for like football drills on like a small area. My mobility is slowly improving. And then we'll get into the weights a bit after, but then the hardest part's going to be deciding how much calories and stuff you need to eat, and things like that. But the biggest advice that I really had when I was starting doing this is when I was like before the age of 14, I drank a lot of soda and stuff. I wasn't like super healthy, okay? After 14, um, I got to where I had that chest pain and I started lifting. And my method wasn't, hey, I'm going to go lift for an hour. It's, hey, I'm going to go out there and lift a little bit and then come in and then go out there and lift a little bit and then come in. And so instead of it being one strict routine, it was throughout the day, I'm going to take 10 minutes, 5 minutes, do some crunches, do some push ups, do some squats, walk on the treadmill. And then that gets you to the point where, oh man, I can do, like when I first started, I couldn't even do one setup. So I would go and use the mattress on my bed to bounce up and keep doing that. And now it's like, even without lifting for like 6 years now, I can still do 40, 50, 60 crunches or setups, no real issue. Like 20 is still really easy for me, and I haven't trained anything in a while. I can still do probably 40, 50 push-ups. I don't even do push-ups anymore. Um, Now, like 20 is probably going to be sort of like the best in a set without stopping, but if I was pushing it, probably about 40, 50. Um, but really, like I drink a lot of soda and stuff before, so like when I first started, I swapped from soda to tea because I was having massive migraines from the caffeine withdrawal. And then from tea to like Gatorade, milk, water, and then eventually dropped the Gatorade for like milk and water. Um, all the ice creams and stuff like that. If I had a sweet tooth starting out, I had like uh sugar-free whipped cream. I would take like a cube of it and pop it in my mouth. Now I use berries and like chocolate and stuff. Um, the fasting pretty much started off as you kind of just need to adjust your body. You can do it the hard way or you can do it the easy way. The hard way is just cold turkey, starting to fast, and then you just suffer through it for like 3 days. Um, the easy way is more like when you're hungry, just kind of push the time limit back. So say you want to eat right now, be like, I'll wait 30 minutes, and then so every time that you're hungry, wait 30 minutes. Every time you're hungry, like after a couple weeks, wait an hour, 45 minutes before you eat. And you slowly keep pushing the time back, and you'll kind of get used to it after a while. That's probably the easiest fasting thing I can think of at the moment. Now, you know, towards the end, like right now, I'm probably not the healthiest person in the world, I'm sure. And then when it comes to lifting and stuff, like I would be taking probably some creatine, I'd probably take some nitric oxide stuff, but I don't really get into any of the other big supplementations, anything like that. Vitamins, creatine, nitric oxide, all those are pretty studied, pretty beneficial, I think. And then you're just protein powders and stuff. It's not a terrible deal, but now it's like you wake up in the morning, you don't want to eat anything and stuff first thing in the morning, because your liver basically produces sugars and stuff in the morning to wake you up. Also, as you notice, if you fast, it's easier to get up in the morning, which is another thing I can note. Like once you get into the workforce and you're working like 16 hours and you're driving like an hour and a half to work, you're working 16 hours or 14 hours or whatever, then you have that hour and a hour drive. So you have like 8 hours of sleep. You literally get up, go right back to work, and you're doing like hard manual labor. Um, it can be difficult to get yourself up to go to work. But when you fast, you kind of get up in the morning and your body knows like, hey, if I get up, I'm gonna get some food here in a bit. And it really like night and day difference when it comes to like punctuality for work, getting stuff done in the morning. Um, you're just a whole other level of productivity after you get used to it when you get up first thing in the morning. And then your day isn't so bad, like you don't necessarily uh feel terrible when you go to work or whatever. And like by the time you start eating, it's like a reward for the day. And then towards the end of the day, you're just like, I'm pretty full, I'm good. And then you just go about your day and it's not that big of a deal. And then like all the benefits for like body repair, HGH levels and all that from fasting as well is going to be a big deal compared to what you're doing before. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm going to test that I can't really necessarily clarify on right now is that when I start lifting again, I'm going to do basically full body split rotations. So like Monday full body, Tuesday would basically be an off day, but like instead of working out like super heavy, I'm gonna do like repetitions, battle rope, push-ups, and like swimming or something like that. Compared to lifting like different ways, different days. Um, partially this is because one, I think it's just a healthier overall way to lift probably. And then as I age as well, like I could go and lift every day, but I don't want to put my body through that punishment every single day. It's the same thing as like if you work a warehouse job or something for a long time, it's not too bad when you start, but you're talking about 30, 40 years of like crouching down, bending over, picking up like 40, 50 pound boxes, and then you wonder why you got back pain. Well, I mean, lifting every single day, like especially if you're lifting heavy weight, you're going in there squatting 700 pounds, and you do that every day or every 3 days. I mean, eventually something's going to happen, I would think. Um, but I just want to test it out and see what fasting will do. Partially the reason I'm doing the full body split, one is because I think as you age, it's just healthier. And then also starting lifters, it's just better, I think, as well to do the full body. Because you don't really need to isolate and do all that kind of stuff. But also when you fast, your HGH levels increase, and I'm curious what that will do to your overall workout performance and gains in general. The second thing with that is that's also part of the reason that I'm doing the full body split is because if I'm going to attempt fasting at a serious level while lifting, I think that I would have to reduce my protein intake. Um, and I don't necessarily want to lift without having access to all the proteins that I need. So during the full body day, when I go in there and I lift full body, that will be the day that I eat my protein and all that stuff and get all the nutrients that I need to start repair and recovery. And then the next day will be the kind of higher rep day, the kind of day that you get a pump. You don't necessarily just destroy your muscle, but you're going to push it and get some like endurance training in on those muscles. And I'm going to be doing that in a fasted state. So my body's going to be able to use the fat and stuff as energy to kind of fuel that potentially. Um, and then I'll have like a smaller meal or something at the end of that day, basically, or no meal at all that day. And my thought is that will allow me to stay in a fasted state and potentially raise my HGH, as well as get all the repair work done inside the body. Not destroy the muscle so much, but have increased blood flow to the muscles and stuff during that period. If you're gonna do it, it'd be like a small meal. Like say like your workout day, you got done at like 6, and you were eating basically for like, let's say, an 8 hour period or something that day, and you got done at 6. Well, if you go all the way until 6 the next day, this would be a 24-hour fast, and then you get done, you go to bed or whatever, you get an additional 8 hours, you're pushing like 34, 36 hours, and then you go into the next day, and then you start eating again. And then you will have your next workout session, all the food and recovery. That's what I'm going to try and do and just see what kind of results happen, see what happens. And it could just be easier in general because the full body workouts, they're not necessarily, um, I don't think it's necessarily going to take that long. I mean, to work every single muscle, if you're doing isolations, I could see it taking a while, but if you're doing a full body split for the day, you have plenty of muscles that you can work in while you're resting the others. So say that you're doing like a bench press, you could go in there. What do you want to know about the P word, man? But as soon as you go into like a bench press, let's say, if you're doing like a power lift and you're trying to lift a whole lot of weight, you can rest like 3, 4 minutes in between sets and lift as much weight as possible. And there's things like supersets where you could do like a bench press and then a heavy row and then go straight back to the bench press. But if you're doing a full body workout, let's say that you do bench press, pin lay row, squat, and like a pull up. I'm pretty sure you could do a full set of each of those just in a rotation and probably have your workout period be the same exact time that you would any other way. And then if you're doing a full body technically every day, like the next day you're going to be having higher reps, I don't think you would necessarily have to kill yourself every day. Because that's the other thing is like when you go to work and you're super sore and you have like production or manual labor that you have to accomplish in the day, you don't want to go in and be impossible to move your legs. Like that's a big one. Or if you have like a high risk job like law enforcement, you don't want to go to like the gym and just murder your legs and then the next day have like a foot pursuit or something. Like it's that risk level there. Whereas like MMA fighters and stuff, besides their training camps that they do like in the summers, they really kind of they push themselves, but they don't destroy themselves every day. And they do these wrestling and everything every day, it seems like in their practices. And they might not be power lifters, but they're pretty damn strong, stronger than the average person for sure. They definitely can fight. And even me, when I was a power lifter and sports player and stuff, when I went into the law enforcement program, the punching bags and rolling on the floor and like throwing hands, I was gassed after like 45 seconds. So you had to like really focus on your breathing and where you're punching, what you're doing with your hands. That's a whole other level of fitness compared to like just lifting weights. And I think a balance of that would be really good for overall health. So that's what I'm going to focus on when I get back into this. I'm going to have my weightlifting days. I'm going to have more cardio endurance days, and I'm going to focus on overall well-being and health. And then I want to see the benefits of the HGH and stuff. Like I know people inject it, but essentially as you fast, they're saying like at 24 hours or it starts at like 16, and then at 20, 24 hours it increases, and then at 30 it increases even more. So like if you get like a 30 hour fast or something, it's like 5x your HGH levels naturally, which is just a crazy amount. And then that means by the time you break your fast, your HGH is going to be way up there. And then, I mean, you might have a small meal or something the second day, but if you're not lifting super heavy, I mean, that's the biggest one. But my thing is whole, I think there's stepping stones. Like, I can easily take someone that's overweight, put them on a strict diet plan, stick them in a gym, sit there and coach them, tell them to lift these weights, go in there, kill themselves for 45 minutes, an hour and a half, run them on the treadmill, put them in the sauna, put them in the ice bath, and it's going to be like not everyone has that mental fortitude. I did sports and pushed myself through this. So I built my mental fortitude over a period of probably 12 years. So I can go out there and do that if I really want to. It's not a big deal. I can still go outside right now and probably do 200 burpees, and I won't like it, but I can do it because I did it in college every single day and during Hell Week and stuff. They just pull out 200 burpees, they pull out the deck of death, and I know that once I hit my limit on that, like as long as you keep moving, you can get it done. It's easy, but it sucks. Um, but if you don't have that built and you haven't pushed yourself to that limit before, you're gonna quit. You're gonna quit. And I think the stepping stones, like these guys, they sell the workout plans, they sell the meal plans and all of that. You don't need all of that. Like literally, you could go on a diet and start eating salads and stuff, or you could slowly decrease the amount of time that you eat. And then while that happens, you're going to slowly decrease the amount you can eat because you can only eat so much. Like right now, like I still try to cram down everything in my, like I eat in a 4 hour window right now. I try to cram everything down, um, but I don't require that much. And I can eat a really big meal portion in like 10, 20 minutes, and then I have to wait a little bit, and then I can eat more if I want, but I'm not super hungry anymore. And when I start working out, I know that it's going to be a bigger burn. I'm going to feel the burn a bit more. Um, as for what I do now, like coffee has been shown to like have mental health benefits, things like that. People are addicted to coffee for sure. Instead of having like 4 or 5 cups a day, like a lot of people do, or like drinking these energy drinks, um, first 4 hours or so, I wouldn't do anything, and then right after that, you can start drinking tea, and then I'd probably have like one, maybe two coffees if you're gonna do coffee. So you either use it as like a pre-workout, or you just use it in the middle of your day and kind of boost it up. But like if you have it too late at night, it's gonna affect your sleep. If you have it too early in the morning, it just kind of messes up your body's rhythm. Um, it's not really needed super early in the morning either, unless you like really need it. But I'd say 1 or 2 cups of coffee, and then switch over to tea if you're gonna be like super caffeinated all the time. Um, I think band work, stuff like that is good. There's things like lifting weights, um, sled pulls. I've always been a big fan of sled pulls, and I think they have a lot of benefits that people just don't do. Walking backwards is something that a lot of people don't do, but it's pretty important. I think like all the little bits of muscles and things that you don't use on a regular basis. Um, this is the stuff that as we get older, like when I'm 60 or 70, I don't want to like have problems with like my shin or something on my leg. Like I think it's better just to keep them somewhat fit, not just focus on quads and stuff all the time. Um, but really, it's just when you get into the workout thing, it's not just go kill yourself for 45 minutes. I would say just take your time throughout the day, take 5 minutes here and there, do a couple push-ups, do a couple squats, walk around a bit, walk sideways, do like side laterals. That's kind of what I've been doing, and it warms you up to the fact you start seeing, oh, like how much movement can I get before I have like a joint pain or something's going on. Like you can kind of test yourself and see what's bothering you, see if you can fix it before you get into these bigger lifts. I think all that stuff's pretty important, and it's things that people don't really do when you rush right into it, especially if you don't have a coach or well, coaches sometimes push you to hurt yourself anyway, that they'll just call you a wimp and have you lift a bunch of weight, and then you end up like tearing a quad or something. Um, but it's good to know your limits, I think, for the most part. Um, and that movement though, I think it's good because you don't really need to just, if you don't have the discipline to just go in and kill yourself every day at the gym, it's good to be able to just slot the time in the day. So like when I first started, it was TV commercials that were like 5 to 7 minutes long, and we didn't have TiVo and stuff back in those days. So literally, if you're watching TV and a commercial comes on, do some crunches, do some push-ups, you know, walk on the treadmill while you're watching the TV for a while. It's little bitty things like that that your body starts like, oh man, okay, we're moving, we're active. You get kind of used to it, and then you can push yourself to the next level. Like I can go out and run 840s or whatever. Like I can do full blown sprints 840s, but I haven't ran in a long time. And I ran into the same issue when I went into the law enforcement program. Um, I came back from college and I started working manual labor jobs. And then I was still working out, trying to stay in shape, but I was wearing myself down. I was having some health issues. Didn't really know exactly what was going on. Um, was sprinting when I came home for a while, like during my lunch or whatever at work, but it just wasn't a possibility after a while. And then by the time I went into the law enforcement program, I really hadn't did a whole lot of that anymore. And I started trying to run and go straight back into it. And I did a couple of sprints in the public park and tore a muscle in my knee. Basically right before the physical test when it came to law enforcement program. So I ended up like bracing my knee up and just kind of forcing myself through it. But I could have avoided all of that if I just took the time to just walk, kind of lubricate my joints up a bit, get my body used to working out and stuff. It's kind of like vertical jump right now. I haven't did like plyo boxes or anything in a long time. And then in college, every night I would go out and do basically the vertical jump on the stairs. So I go out there and do just jump up on the stairs, see how many steps you could get. On the college stairs, it was like 7 or 8 stairs probably I could go up. And now it's like I don't really do that much anymore. Well, I could go and instantly try and do the plow boxes and stuff, but I think it's better to build up. Instead of me jumping max height every time, at least for the first month or two, just kind of do the smaller stuff, get your body used to absorbing the shock, give your body time to kind of adjust, and then slowly progress more and more into it. But you don't have to trust me about any of this. I mean, I'm not an expert. I've did 10 to 12 years of you know, physical activity, athletics, working out like 8 to 10 hours a day, so I mean that in that sense I have experience doing the lifts and working out and being under a bunch of different coaches and strength trainers, but all of them seem to have their own philosophies, their own methods, and some of them contradict each other. And then overall, in the long term, I just think there's health problems that people just don't recognize. Like you'll have strict meal plans and stuff, strict lifting sessions, strict everything in college and be an athlete. And you'll be a serious athlete, don't get me wrong, like you get really good. But then you have like these underlying things where it's like you'll have um like health problems pop up in like 10 years, you know? I don't know. It's just a quick little talk. I'm more or less just making this to kind of, I don't know, talk to myself in the future for some period or like refresh myself a bit. Um, but I just think there's a different philosophy that we could try. Mainly the biggest thing here is just that when we start lifting, I'm gonna try a new system, and it's something that I really haven't seen anyone do online. So I really want to test, like, if it's possible and if it's a healthier method. Because I don't have any problem with like the splits like 5, 6 day a week splits. We could easily do, upper lower legs or chest arms, back by legs or, whatever you want. But if we do full body and we focus on the compound lifts at the very beginning, full body Monday, kind of uh I wouldn't say cardio, but more repetition cardio stuff Tuesday core, and then you do full body Wednesday, and then kind of cardio repetition core on like Thursday, and then do a full body Friday, and then you could have Saturday, Sunday off if you were going to do that, or you could go in and do another, thing. Like the other thing with this is that if you're planning events, like let's say that you have a wife or a girlfriend or anything else, and they're not super gym freaks, like they're not super active about being in the gym, you're gonna have time that you're not with your family, not building a relationship, going to the gym, you look good. But on the days that I have, like, let's say Monday, I do my full body workout, okay? And that takes me, 1 hour, 2 hours, however long. And, that's not a super serious deal. Then the next day, I don't have to just go to the gym for an hour. And I can be like, hey, you want to go to Turner Falls, or you want to go to the public pool? And I can just go and have an active physical lifestyle in public and it build quality time with my family instead of working out at the gym. It feels like an overall healthier thing. The other thing though is like for me, especially when it comes to swimming, is when I was lifeguarding, basically towards the end of high school, uh I had stopped doing like a manual physical labor job during summer, and I started lifeguarding. And while you were lifeguarding, you could swim on these rotations. And so I would swim for like, I don't know, 4 hours, 5 hours a day, and do summer pride workouts and stuff on top of that afterwards, like running and stuff. And it was the leanest, cuttest version of me where you could actually feel the muscles in your body. Um, and that's just because I was swimming a lot. And so, like, if I do full body workouts and I get fairly big doing that, if I'm able to get decently big doing that, on those off days, I could still swim, I could hike, I could go punch a boxing bag, I could do some battle ropes, I could go like paintball or do any sort of physical activity that you want. You could go do some yard work, some housework, stuff you need to do, and that would be your workout for the day. Like you get extra work in, you get a little bit, but you're not gonna like top yourself out. Like all those activities, yeah, you're using your legs, you're using your core, you're using high repetition work, but you're not going and benching like 515. Like it's just not a thing. Like you're not gonna go and your arms are gonna be so sore you can't lift the next day. I just don't think, And overall, it's probably just a healthier way to do stuff. In general, you know. I mean, at least for a starting program, at least, because like, um, I don't know. Like I actually love lifting, and I have a hard time limiting myself. When I get into a workout groove, I'll go lift like every 5 minutes. Like I'll just go out there and like I'll do a full blown workout and I'll go in and I'll be like, I should probably go lift a little bit. And I'll go back out there and lift like, but it's not healthy because you'll overwork yourself over a while. Like your body gets used to it, but there's periods where you will overwork yourself. Like I think my junior year, I think in high school or something along those lines. Um I used to do basically an hour or two of lifting. Then we'd have football practice for an hour or two. Then I would come home and do like an hour, 45 minutes of P90X, and then I would go to the local gym with the other linemen and stuff and do probably an hour, 2 hours of lifting with them. Like I'd do my own workout for an hour, and then they would show up and we'd do their workout for an hour, and then I would come home. But I remember during one of those periods, we were at the athletics right before practice, and we are doing a leg workout. And at the time, I could squat, 500 and something, and I could do some reps of four something. But we went in there and we're trying to lift, and I couldn't even lift 135. Like I was physically trying to squat weight, and my body couldn't do it, and I felt sick. And I remember my coach like yelling at me, screaming like, "What the fuck is this? You can't even lift the bar!" Like going after me, thought I was like playing around or something. But that's the stuff that happens if you lift too much, is like your body will like destroy itself. Um, so I think there's a balance that could be made. Um, the other thing though is like if I make a pool or anything at my house, um, so one thing is when I build this gym, I want to allow people to go in and use it. I want to be there for personal training or lifting tips. Although I might not be like the most experienced trainer person in the world, when it comes to physical form for lifts, I was damn good. So powerlifting lifts and form and technique, I'm good with that. Because I powerlifted for a while and my form was A1 on most of that. I don't do that sumo deadlift shit though. Um, but I would like to open that up to where other people can go, and I don't want it to just be like murder. I don't just want to murder people. I want it to be like a place that you go for information, for knowledge. I'm going to teach you the form and lifts. I'm going to teach you the basic things that you can do to kind of work yourself into it. Um, I want to give people like financial tips and advice that they could do in my local area. Things that I learned, just simple things that people just like a life coach, you know, like I might not be the most amazing billionaire person in the world, but I think that I could help the people in my local area with a little bit of information. I mean, I don't actively seek money, so I'm not super rich, but I don't really have any financial issues besides like a little bit of student loan debt. Like, I got two properties paid in full. I have two cars and a motorcycle paid in full. I mean, I don't have any health issues for the most part. I don't have any problem paying my bills or buying food. I could go on trips if I want. All that stuff. I think I could help other people learn how to do that as well. And then when it comes to like life insurance policies or anything like that, like I'm gonna get the information and learn it, and then I can teach people about it if it is useful or not. But I'm not gonna just take people's word on that and then not test it out myself before I give other people the advice on it. Like gold and silver and all of that. But I think a lot of stuff when it comes down to like working out and stuff, it's not just about getting big. It's not just about getting muscle. There's a lot of life benefits that you can have having kind of a structured discipline around physical activity and diet that people just aren't talking about, especially when it comes to financial stability, family health. You know, it's really big. Like I don't spend $400 every week on food. Like I can go spend 100 and eat really freaking good in a week if I want, or I can just spend 50 and have some basic food, or I might not even care about eating much of anything that week. Like I probably like if I spend $50 on food every week, I'll have extra And all it takes is me being like, I don't really care about going to the grocery store this week. If I want to buy something, I can just not go to the grocery store and I can go spend $100 or whatever on a, I don't know, some fancy dinner date or whatever I want. And I don't think that's too bad for the most part. Like it's a lot of freedom there. Like financially not being strained, not putting your like stress is probably the biggest thing that I can think of. When I was stressed out and I was working jobs where I was stressed to the max every single day, um, my physical and mental health declined rapidly. And that's probably the biggest thing that I could say is like when you're in that kind of mindset, I'm sorry, but no amount of working out, gym ethic, diet plan, it's not going to happen. If your physical environment is that terrible, like that's the thing that you got to fix right off the bat. And really that comes down to like when you're trying to be a perfectionist and if you're worried about money or anything like that, it's no, it's you need to have the ability to be like, hey, I'm okay with not having a job for like a couple of months to find something that's a little bit more of a better environment. Because some workplaces, like as much as you would love to have that, can do team spirit attitude when it comes to workplaces, um, these places don't just need your loyalty at the beginning. Okay, it's not a sports team. It's not your home school. Um, there's not that kind. As much as they say that you're a family, it's not always the case. And not every place is built for you. And I think that's a big thing to learn. And just having the kind of financial backing and the discipline around it just makes it so much easier. Like at any point, I can leave a job and I know that I have like a year plus that I can kind of set and be like, okay, where do I want to go? Do I want to go get a license, like a CDL? Do I want to go get my real estate license? Do I want to get a life insurance license? Do I want to go learn to scuba dive? And there's all kinds of stuff like that. Do I want to go learn a language and become like a translator? The ability to go and do that and not have to worry is a huge thing on your shoulders, realistically. I mean, it gives you a lot of leeway. And also, people at your jobs notice. It's like, I guess it could be bad and good, but my understanding is when I was first working, you tell me what to do, I'm going to do it. We're going to follow the rules 100%. No matter what happens, I'm going to be here. And it doesn't work out like as well as you think all the time. And you get overworked, you get stressed out. People don't like you as much because they think you have an attitude. Um, it just doesn't work. But where you have that security safety net behind you, maybe you change the way you dress a little bit, but people treat you differently when it comes like this job here. I literally came here, uh, started working, um, did really good, like I do most places. Got moved to a new position where I kind of run everything, and then like within a year, or it wasn't even a year, but like basically within was it 6 months, 7 months, like they were already offering me like a management position, like they wanted me to move me to a chief, and it's just a different mindset. And then it's like, yes, I could go and move to be a chief, but I don't need it. Like I could go and work a little bit more hours. I could go and try to move up the corporate ladder. I like the job. It's not that big of a deal, but you want me to go and work an additional, or you want me to work and maybe get a little bit of additional pay, but I would lose more doing that than I will other things. It's just a toss up, you know? And it gives me more leeway when it comes to stuff because at this point, like I'm at a position where I kind of manage. almost everything around here. And I'm really good at it, so it doesn't take me very long at all. And as long as nothing happens, then I probably am gonna be fine. Like and then I've gotten so efficient at it that new people that come over here and try to learn it, they get overwhelmed like I was when I first came over here, and they quit. And so like it's very difficult for anyone to really have seniority over you when you've kind of figured stuff out at this level. And the only reason it started this way was because I had the financial backing to not really care as much if I ended up losing a job, and then just kind of figure out how things work and do it my way. Whereas like I don't know, but I feel like there's a lot of people that could learn some things. But also like I'm gonna make a library and stuff. So like I know they have public libraries for like people to go use, but when I have this gym and stuff, I'm gonna have my own personal library at my house that has like business finance books and stuff in it. And that's gonna be the other thing. So like when I build this thing, it isn't just gonna be a gym. It's literally like a life course. Like diet, health, exercise, financial planning, um, business methods, life insurance things, personal banking, loans, investments, gold, silver, all that stuff. You're going to have access to all the books and everything else. And I think that is going to bring people a lot more quality. And then I'm going to have the saunas and the ice baths and the pool. All that stuff is going to be great. And then I would like to open up temporary housing, is what I call it. Some people like uh, what you call it? They have like low income housing for people. I want to set up like small, like basically people go to college and they'll live in dorm rooms and they'll pay like however much money, $1,000 or whatever, like a semester or whatnot to live there. And it's just a small room or whatever. I want to make some like small homes for people like going out of high school or whatever. So I'd be like, hey, you can live here. The rent and stuff's super cheap. Everything's really easy to fix and go. I'll kind of teach you and give them basic knowledge, just kind of like how things work, how the bill system works, how, um, you know, home repair and all the parts that go into the home. Like it's going to be like a training camp for young adults, I think. And then basically it'd be like a 4 year, 5 year thing, and then after that, like we'll have to get you situated in a new proper house. But financially, I would help you plan over that 4 or 5 years, figure out what you're going to do, where you want to go, what kind of education that you want, which kind of job that you want, what kind of, things that you need financially, and then get it all situated to where by the time you're done, you're going to have a nice, stable life and everything's going to be super good. But when it comes to the workout thing, though, I just want to see what this does for me personally. And like you can tell that I'm not in super crazy fit shape or anything anymore. Like it's not, you know, I can probably still bench. I don't know. If I was going to judge this right now, my bench max is probably like 270, 275, I would think right now. Without lifting for 6 years, I can probably do like 5 reps of like 225, 240 maybe, or 230, 225, I would assume. My squat is still probably, I'm assuming my max is probably going to be like 340, 350 right now. I can probably do 5 reps of 315 or 305, I'm assuming. Um, Basically, my lifts right now are going to be more akin to my freshman year lifts in high school. Like my deadlift is probably going to be about the same as my squat, and all of that. And I know it takes me, within 4 years, I would be back to my high school level. like senior, I know I could do that pretty easily, and it's going to be faster than 4 years probably. But 4 years of consistent lifting, I could get back to my like high school level for sure. Um, which was like 450 bench. I think it was like 800 on deadlift and five on squat for the most part. Um, so that wouldn't be too bad, I don't think. But the I mean, the last time that I started working out, just in general, like I had similar lifts probably to what I would have right now. Within 2 or 3 weeks, I was already benching like an extra 30 pounds, I think. Um, so it's not too bad, but the muscle mass, there's a constant gain rate that you can get. Like you'd be lucky to get like 5 pounds a year, maybe 10 if you're topping out. So like 5 to 10 pounds of muscle a year is pretty big. But considering that I was 325 at the end of high school, and right now I'm still floating around three, probably, just not having to do a whole lot. Within 4 years, I could be right about that level again, I'm sure. And then after that, it wouldn't be that hard. Like if I kept lifting after college, well, that's the big difference too, is when I was in college, they had a different lifting style. That strength and conditioning coach, he wanted everything slow and controlled, but he didn't believe in personal safety equipment. So you couldn't do any uh, reverse grips, you couldn't use any wrist wraps, you couldn't use any weight belts, anything like that. So everyone's weights dropped drastically. Um, and I'm not the biggest believer in all of it. Like, yes, it is natural strength. Don't get me wrong. Like, you want to be able to do that stuff without a weight belt. But when you're talking about deadlifting like 800 pounds, you're not doing that without a weight belt. I'm sorry. There's no way in hell you're doing that without a weight belt. And when it comes to power clean grip on that, no, like I couldn't do that. Um, so like when he took away the weight belts and all of that, my deadlift dropped down to like 340, 350 from 800. Just because my wrists, like I physically just uh because we couldn't do inverse grip anymore, we had to go power clean grip. It was impossible to hold on to it. I guess technically I didn't know this back then, but they have like a grip style that locks your fingers into place, but it hurts pretty bad. And I could potentially have tried to do that, but it's just no. And then like when you're squatting, like there's people that squat like 800 pounds, 700 pounds, and then you're doing that without a weight belt, especially if you haven't did that without a weight belt. Like if you started lifting and you worked all the way up without weight belts to 700 pounds, sure. But you're talking about people that were massive, like 6'8", 6'6", squatting 700, 800 pounds, and they've been lifting in sports and stuff with weight belts for probably, 6 to 8 years, and then you strip the weight belt away, and they drop from like an 800-pound squat down to like a 400-pound squat. That's a big difference. But I don't know. I'm gonna hop off of here. I was just saying, uh, probably going to uh, we have to get these second job at some point. I'm thinking about just doing the 8-hour shifts. Um, do like 4 eights or 5 eights. Well, we're working 3 days, so probably 4 eights, 36 hours. Even if it's like $10 an hour or something, you're still looking at like 15,000 or something in a year. All I really need is a simple job that I can just kind of do. And even if let's say conservatively, I get 10,000 in that year. Um, with how my food bills work, I can live off of 2 to 3,000 in a year for food. It's not too bad, which means I can put back another 10,000 or so, probably on my other on this job or something. So I could easily put back like 20,000 or so. Student loans are going to come back in, probably going to be like 100 and something to 300 something a month. Um, so in that situation, it's going to take a little bit of extra out of me, but literally, if I do that for a year, I'll have enough for the foundation work and stuff for the building, and then by the end of that, like I could probably just do the foundation work myself if I wanted to, and then just buy the building for the workout room. But literally, that's going to be 2 years done. And then at that, I can just build the gym, do what I want, and that's probably the biggest thing that I'm looking at right now. But as a quick fix to this, we were building a garage onto, like rebuilding the garage onto my house. Um, Basically, I need a windbreak to help protect my water pipes versus the elements. But I've been thinking recently with my house, if I take the garage and put in like, I don't know, 4-inch cement floor, and then rebuild the wall exterior on the outside, connect that onto the house. I could turn that into like a lower living room or a very large bedroom area, and then put my just basic workout equipment rack in there. Would be all that I need, and I could start lifting right there with that. And then over the next year or two, I'd be able to get the other gym built, and boom, we'd be pretty much done. But the other thing with that is that if we build that lower bedroom area, I could use that, or I could let people use the upper bedroom that I have and just rent it out. Get an extra. So rent in our area is like uh 650 to 900 probably. Um, so I could rent, like, even if I got, let's say conservatively we got 250. Let's say I did 250, and that paid for the utilities. Um, 2,000, 2,500 a year, basically, that I'd be saving. So in 1 year, that could pay for a sauna or an ice bath. In 2 years, you're already looking at 5 grand. 4 years, you're looking at 10 grand that you could. I mean, I could buy another property with 10 grand around here. So my thing is like the get rich quick stuff. It's fine. I just have morally, I have an issue buying, like selling things to people that don't work or are unhealthy or something to them. But little things like I don't really care about being a millionaire, but if I'm 60 and I have a way to make 400, 500 bucks a month and I don't have any bills or anything, or like I don't have any debt or anything to deal with, that's cake. Like you can do whatever you want at that point. Like as soon as your bills and stuff are paid, you don't have any loans, any interest or anything. It's like you could work for 2 weeks, get $1,000, go take a trip. Boom. You could work a part-time job and go take a trip like every 2 weeks if you wanted to. Like there's so much stuff that you could do. For me though, like I just like doing business ventures for the most part. Um, I don't like trying to rip people off or sell somebody on cake dreams, but like for me it's been like family projects. Um, like if someone in my family really wanted to do a business, I would give them some advice as best I can and try to help them, and I would actually invest money into it to help them get it off the ground. Um, and that's kind of what I like doing, but it's like if that takes off, and I'm not super greedy. I don't care about making $1 million off of it, but if they make like they give me $100 a month or something, like I'll invest like $10,000 in there, and then you get it off the ground, give me $100 a month. I mean, that's $1,000 a year. That means 10 years I'll have my money back, even though inflation isn't gonna really give it back. But you do like four business things like that, you're getting $400 a month without having to really do much. I mean, that basically a week of work every month that you get for free. It's weird stuff like that. Like by the time you're 60, 70, like let's say that you do one thing that gives you $100 a month in 10 years. Right now, like by the time you're like 50, you could have like three of those. And you basically replace a week's worth of work that you have, and then you could just another 3 years, you'd be priced in 2 weeks. I mean, at that point, I mean, as long as you don't have any loans or anything else that you require, you could live off of that. I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird. I don't think life is as hard as, some people say. Like, we're not, I mean, I'm not in the, like, driving Ferraris and stuff. I mean, I could buy a Ferrari if I really wanted to. It's like, I don't know. What do they got? Like these $100,000 cars. Let's see. Right now, let's say that if I min-maxed everything, saved back $15,000, let's say, got a secondary, just simple job, saved up an additional 15,000, you get 30,000 in a year. You work 3 years, you're already floating at about $100,000. You know, you go get a CDL license, be a truck driver, make $8,000 a year, bring home like 60. That's basically exactly like you 60,000, 2 years, you'd have 120, just buy you a car. 4 years, you'd have like 250,000, stick that in a bank, 5% interest, bring home like an additional 15,000. So now you go from 60,000 a year to 75,000 a year, you know. So then, let's see, 4 years for the first one, then you go to 75,000 in a year, you're looking at, that's actually 200 and something. Hmm. I don't know, but I mean, yeah, but basically you could do a CDL truck driver thing, do that for 10 years, and then live off the interest for the rest of your life. Like, is 10 years of labor worth the rest of your life? Probably. Like, say you get out of high school at 18, you go get a CDL, you make 60,000 in cash take home at the end of the year. You min-max that as much as possible. Let's just say that you do 50,000. You keep 50,000 after expenses. So 2 years you get $100,000. 4 years you're looking at 200,000. So say it increases your interest gain by 10,000 at that point for 4 years. So within 10 years you're going to be getting 20, 25,000 in interest, maybe more, and then a simple lifestyle. You'd basically just retire. You don't even have to do much else after that. Work a simple job, make $20,000 a year, and then have 25 extra in interest. I mean, anyway, I gotta go. Y'all guys have a good one, and we'll see how this works out in a few years. I'm mainly just making this to talk to myself and